Good day, dear students. Hope you all are safe and healthy at your home. Today we are going to begin chapter 8 Going Places, written by A.R. Barton. This story is about the dream journey of a teenager who lives in her own imagination. We know that dreams and fantasies are natural and an important part of our life, and without dreams, life would be meaningless. But sometimes these dreams acquire such a prominent place in the life of teenagers that they spend most of their time in their dreamland. They dream of following the footsteps of their idols without knowing the harsh realities of life. They struggle between dream and reality. And when one day life shows them the truth, they face disappointments, regrets, and pains. So it is rightly said that one must be ambitious but not unrealistic. Let's talk about the characters in the story. Sophie. Now here there it is a story about two girls, Sophie and Jency. Both are classmates and friends and belong to middle class family. Now if we talk about Sophie, she is the main character in the story. She is a daydreamer and dreams of big and beautiful things which are beyond her reach. Jancy is a sensible and practical girl. She does not have any high ambitions in life. Geoff, he is Sophie's elder brother, an apprentice mechanic, soft spoken, and an introvert. He speaks very less. He prefers to live in reality. And then comes Danny Casey. He is a young football player from Ireland. Sophie's family is a great fan of him, and Sophie is always lost in his dreams and considers him to be her hero. Let's talk about the author. A.R. Barton was born in 1913. He was a modern writer who lived in Zurich and writes in English. In the story Going Places, Barton explores the theme of adolescent fantasizing and hero worship. Adolescent here means teenagers. Fantasizing means to imagine the things which are possible only in dreams. And hero worship is to admire someone in excess that he becomes your hero. So the theme of the story is that teenagers, they imagine the things which are impossible and then they chase them and make them their hero. Let's start reading the chapter. So the chapter opens with the conversation between Sophie and Jancy, who are classmates and friends as well. So both of them are coming home from school and side by side they are talking. When I leave, Sophie said, coming home from school, I am going to have a boutique. Jancy, linking arms with her along the street, looked doubtful. Takes money, Soph, something like that. I'll find it, Sophie said, staring far down the street. Now, Sophie said that I am going to open a boutique when I will leave the school. Jancy looked at her doubtfully. Linking arm means they were having hand in hand. Now, takes money, Soph. This line is spoken by Jancy. So she says it will take lot of money to open a boutique. I'll manage. Sophie said, I'll manage. Take you a long time to save that much. I'll be a manager then. Yes, of course, to begin with, till I have got enough. But anyway, I know just how it's all going to look. Now she said, if it will take time to open a boutique or if it takes too much money, then I'll be a manager then and I will collect the money. They wouldn't make you manager straight off, Soph. I'll be like Mary Quant, Sophie said. I'll be a natural. They will see it from the start. I will have the most amazing shop this city's ever seen. Now, then she says that if I will not be a manager, then I will be a fashion icon, just like Mary Quant. And I'll look very natural, and they will see to it, and then I will open a very good shop the city has never ever seen. Gen Z, knowing they were both earmarked for the biscuit factory, became melancholy. She wished Sophie wouldn't say these things. Now, earmarked here means pre-decided. Now, Gen Z and Sophie both have pre-decided that after leaving the school, they will work in biscuit factory. So Jancy became very sad when she heard that Sophie wants to open a boutique, or if not boutique, then she wants to become the manager. When they reached Sophie's street, Jancy said, "It is only a few months away now, Soph. You really should be sensible. Now hardly few months are left to leave the school, so now you become sensible. They don't pay well for shop work. You know that your dad would never allow it. Even your dad will not allow you to work in the shop. Or an actress." Then she says, "Then I'll become an actress. Now there is real money in that. Yes, and I could maybe have the boutique on the side. And as a side business, I will open a boutique. Actresses don't work full time, do they? Anyway, that or a fashion designer. And if not actress, then I'll become a fashion designer. You know, something a bit sophisticated. Now, fashion designing work, fashion designers' work is a royal work, a classy work." And she turned in through the open street door, leaving Jancy standing in the rain. Now, as the Sophie's house came, they reached near the Sophie's house. Now Sophie is entering into the home, and Jancy is standing on the road in the rain. "If ever I come into money, I will buy a boutique." Now while entering into the house, she is speaking this sentence: "If I will get lot of money, I will open a boutique." Oh, if you ever come into money, you will buy us a blessed, decent house to live in. Thank you very much. Now, from inside, her brother says, "If you will get lot of money, you will buy us a house." Now, who is that brother? Let's see. Sophie's father was scooping shepherd's pie into his mouth as hard as he could go, his plump face still grimy and sweat marked from the day. Scooping means eating. Shepherd's pie means big piece of any eatable. Grimy here means dirty. So Sophie's father was inside the house. He was eating a big piece and putting it into the mouth. He was quite plump. He has plump face, fluffy face, and grimy and sweat. Grimy means he was wearing dirty clothes and quite sweating, marked from the day, because father has returned from his office or from his work. That's why his clothes were dirty and he was sweating. "She thinks money grows on trees, don't she, Dad?" said little Derek. Now he is the little brother of Sophie, the younger brother of Sophie. His name is Derek. He says, "My sister thinks that money grows on trees." Hanging on the back of his father's chair. The boy is hanging on the back of father's chair because he is a small boy. Their mother sighed, and on the other hand, mother was doing work in the kitchen, so she took a long breath. Sophie washed her back, stooped over the sink, and wondered at the incongruity of the delicate bow which fastened her apron strings, the delicate seeming bow and the crooked back. Now, mother was working in the kitchen, bending over the sink. Sink is a place where utensils are washed. So, mother was bending over the sink and she was wearing apron. So, the way she was wearing the apron, that was inappropriate way. The evening had already blacked in the windows, and the small room was steamy from the stove and cluttered with the heavy breathing man in the west at the table and dirty washing piled up in the corner. So the room was quite steamy because mother was cooking the food on the stove. So there was sound of the stove, along with there was a sound of heavy breathing man. That was Sophie's father, because he was quite heavy person. So while sitting and he was breathing, while breathing heavy sound was coming out. So there was a sound of father's breathing and sound of stove, and the dirty washing piled up in the corner, and kitchen was quite messy because utensils were kept at the corner. Sophie felt a tightening in her throat. She felt uncomfortable, suffocated over there. So she went to look for her brother Geoff. Geoff is elder brother of Sophie and younger brother is Derek. Now she is going to look for Geoff. He was kneeling on the floor in the next room, tinkering with a part of his motorcycle over some newspaper spread on the carpet. He was 3 years out of the school, an apprentice mechanic, traveling to his work each day to the far side of the city. He here refers to brother Geoff. Kneeling means bent down on the floor, touching the knees with the floor. So by kneeling down, he was repairing the part of his motorcycle by spreading the newspaper on the carpet so that the carpet doesn't spoil. And brother has left the school 3 years before and now working as apprentice mechanic, learning the mechanical work. He was almost grown up now, and she suspected areas of his life about which she knew nothing, about which he never spoke. He said little at all, ever voluntarily. Words had to be prized out of him like stones out of the ground, and she was jealous of his silence. Now Sophie was so jealous of her brother's silence because brother was not in the habit of speaking. Just as we dig the ground to get the stones out, in the same way words were prized out of him. He was forced to speak. When he wasn't speaking, it was as though he was away somewhere, out there in the world, in those places she had never been. So when brother remained quiet, she feels that he is somewhere else, somewhere at those places about which she never know. Whether they were only the outlying districts, faraway districts of the city, or places beyond in the surrounding country, who knew? They attained a special fascination simply because they were unknown to her and remained out of her reach. So the places where her brother goes for work, those places were attractions for her. Those places captivated her because those places were unknown to her and she wanted to visit there. Thank you. Remaining part we will cover in next video.